Indiana football gets much needed help through the transfer portal at the safety position as Preston Zachman from Wisconsin commits to the Hoosiers.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day, and now the number one sports podcasting network in the world. So thank you for making that so, and thank you for being here on a bonus edition of Locked On Hoosiers on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, as the transfer portal never sleeps, and Indiana is now involved. They pick up their first commitment of this cycle as Preston Zachman, the Wisconsin transfer safety, has committed to the Indiana Hoosiers. And this is a great start, folks. This is a really, really good start for Indiana because safety was one of those positions that Indiana had to go after. You had to go get somebody or maybe even somebodies, right, to fill the spot of several dudes that you're leaving. And Preston Zachman is a great place to start. A guy that will be playing his 7th season of college football coming up this year. He's had some injuries and some things, including this past year, that have obviously limited him and caused him to be around for quite some time. All those years played in Madison, but a guy that has a lot of reps, okay? A guy that's been there, done that, who, as I said, will be playing his 7th year of college ball in 2026. You can have your thoughts on whether you like that idea or not, but that's just the facts, at least for Preston Zachman, okay? 6'1", 212 pounds as a safety. The dude's built like a small linebacker. Like when you just look at pictures and videos of him, he looks like he's a small linebacker, but he's playing safety. So he's very physical. He's extremely quick and somebody that gets after the football. This past year, he had for Wisconsin, I guess this past year, 12 tackles, okay, 2 pass breakups, 2 interceptions before he had a season-ending injury. So 2025 was off to a great start for him. But in his career, okay, he started 20 games, played in 34, has over 100 tackles on his name, 15 pass breakups, has 7 picks as well. Preston Zachman is the depth and the experience that you needed at the safety position. You're talking about somebody who could start for Indiana or will see significant snaps for the Hoosiers at the safety position. Somebody that's got big-time interceptions in season openers, in P4 games and Big Ten games. Somebody who has recorded, I think, several interceptions every year that he's played almost a full season or several games of a season. So when you turn on the film, that kind of jumps off the page. He is a true safety who just kind of hangs back and just kind of waits. He attacks the football. He really waits for plays to break down and then is able to jump routes and kind of cut off receivers and pick off the football that way. So aggressive is a way that I would describe Preston Zachman, and that fits the narrative of what Indiana's defense is supposed to be, especially in the back end, right? And I talk about how this is a much needed position, much needed help for Indiana this season, because think about the names that you're losing in the safety spot. You're losing Devin, Boykin, and Lewis Moore just like that from eligibility alone. Those guys are gone. They can't come back, and those are major pieces of your defense. I mean, gosh, remember the fight that Lewis Moore had to go through just to play this season and how important he's been. Devin Boykin right there with him. And so those two guys are major pieces that you're losing off of this team next year. And that's just from eligibility. That doesn't count anybody that decides to leave through the transfer portal, which will probably happen, or a guy like Amari Farrell, right, who does have another year, but what does he decide to do? I don't see him leaving Indiana to go to another school, but I haven't seen his latest draft stock either, so should probably check into that a little bit. But let's say Amari Farrell comes back. Okay, let's say that Amari Farrell comes back next year in the safety spot. That's pretty much all you've got in terms of experience because he would be a senior, right? The drop off is significant. You would have nobody older than a sophomore at the safety position. There's some talent in there. Byron Baldwin, love him. Jaja Boyd, love him. I think there's a lot of potential there. Okay, you're bringing several in through your recruiting class as freshmen, but you can't run with one senior and then a bunch of underclassmen. You've got to go get at least one dude, if not two. And that's why the Hoosiers went and got Preston Zachman from Wisconsin. So I like this kid. I do. I think this is a solid start for Indiana. I think it's a big pickup for the Hoosiers, a guy that can either start or play a lot of snaps for you depending on what you want to run defensively. So Preston Zachman is your first commit in the transfer portal class. I guess that's how we're saying this now, the 2026 portal class, since we're down to one portal rotation, right? We're down to one cycle. So this is the 2026 portal class. Preston Zachman joins that club on what Indiana is trying to rebuild and reload for the 2026 football season, and picking up a big time experienced safety is such a good start for the Indiana Hoosiers. But Indiana is not done. And there are several kids who have been visiting, talking, and negotiating with Indiana. We'll talk about who could be next right after this on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays always feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame destination, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Time have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. By opening the FanDuel app during NBA Happy Hour, it always brings something new, like boosts and bonuses and tons of surprises. It just adds a little extra energy to Friday nights with watching basketball without having to overthink it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. This bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. There's nothing like college football season, tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. But actually getting tickets, yeah, it can be difficult, right? For those of you who went to the Rose Bowl, I'm sure you found that out very, very quickly. The part that used to be frustrating, right? In long queues and having all this just non-fun things when buying sports tickets, you can get rid of all of that by using our friends over at Game Time. It gives you the advantage, okay? It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. So if you're looking to go to the Peach Bowl in Atlanta and Mercedes-Benz Stadium, there's one place you need to buy tickets. It's on the Game Time app. You can see your view from every seat in that place, and it's a monster if you've never been there. There's a ton of seats in there. That place is pretty cool. You can see your view from every seat, plus what you see on the price is what you're going to pay. That's it. There's no jumping at checkout. There's no extra fees that they don't tell you about. What you see is what you pay. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. All right, welcome back into this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers as we're talking about the transfer portal. So thank you so much for being here. And if you haven't checked it out already, we'd love for you to be a part of our Everydayer Club. It's $5 a month, $50 for the year. So we're just now starting in January, obviously, so you can hop on where you're going to save some money if you do it for the year. But it's our Everydayer Club. We're doing so much extra content for you for just a cup of coffee a month. Literally, you're going to get this show audio-wise ad-free. every single day to whatever podcasting platform you already use. Plus, we have an exclusive Discord channel that we're talking in constantly about different games and transfer portal and fun conversations. So you'll get a part of that, plus so much more that we're introducing as we go along. So if you want to be a part of that, we'd love to see you there and hop on with the Locked On Hoosiers Everydayer Club. You can go to your browser and just search lockedonhoosiers.supercast.com. No triple W, just lockedonhoosiers.supercast.com. Come on in, be a part of our Everydayer Club, because if you're watching and listening every day, that's the place you need to be as well. So we'll have the link for you in the description below. Talking more transfer portal, right? Because Preston Zachman is the first one to commit to Indiana. I love this pickup. I think it's a beneficial one. I think it fills a hole that you had in your defense if you're Indiana and Bryant Haynes. But now the question is, who could be next? Who could be the next one that commits to the Indiana Hoosiers? And we've talked a little bit, not a ton, right? Kind of coming out of the holidays and things, but we've talked a little bit, especially with the portal only opening up on Friday. The idea that Indiana has had several guys on campus this weekend and coming up early in this week to come visit out of the transfer portal. But think about that for a second. Indiana is preparing to play in the college football playoff semifinals on Friday, right? They'll travel probably, Tuesday or Wednesday would be my guess. They'll travel down there early to middle of the week and try and play in the biggest game of the season. And yet they're having to focus on the transfer portal because it opened up last Friday. The calendar is just completely screwed up. But this weekend was really your main time to get a lot of these dudes in. Guys that have already entered and shown interest. This was the weekend for you to get them in. And we're going to talk a lot more about this on the main show tomorrow on Monday, right? We're going to do a ranking of the positions that Indiana needs and some early signs that Indiana's going after, some big name players. We already talked about Nick Marsh, the receiver from Michigan State. Keep an eye out on that one. Parker Livingstone was a receiver from Texas that we mentioned as well. Super big name there that Indiana's in on. But what I notice about the Hoosiers is they're going after pretty much any position on the field. Defensive end, linebacker, running back. You've got to go get some running backs. Of course, the quarterback position has been pretty hush-hush over the last week or so, but you're going after edge guys. You're going after corners. Clearly, you're going after safeties, right? And so keep an eye on pretty much all of those positions. And Preston Zachman was the guy who was here this weekend. He committed, but keep your eye on some guys, especially like a Raleek Brown from Arizona State, running back there. You've got a Notre Dame edge or a defensive end, I believe, who's coming in as well. So lots of big names for the Hoosiers. They're active in the transfer portal, but now they're going to be at a disadvantage because they'll be heading to Atlanta to play in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. But that's a good problem to have, and I wouldn't want it any other way. We appreciate you being here on this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Keep it locked right here because the transfer portal is wild. Indiana's going to have to make a ton of additions, and we're going to talk about every single one of them. Guys who commit, guys who visit, guys who are linked to Indiana, all the possibilities and more. We're going to have it for you right here on Locked On Hoosiers. So make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel, follow us on your audio podcasting platforms, and check out our Everydayer Club. I want you to be a part of that. I'm in there. We're having a ton of fun. I'm going to connect with you on a closer level, okay? We are back tomorrow, Hoosier fans, for a normal episode. Also going live tonight on the YouTube channel because Indiana basketball plays tonight. The Big Ten restart is right now, and the Hoosiers take on Washington tonight. So we'll go live on Locked On Hoosiers on the YouTube channel immediately following the basketball game as well, and then a full episode coming up on Monday. All right, Hoosier fans, until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.